All right, counter punch boxing. What's up, YouTube? Okay, check it out. I got a good one for you today. I mean, look, I'm hyped up. I'm excited about this fight. Tomorrow we got the day or what is it, David Lemieux and Curtis Stevens tomorrow. By the way, I'll put out a quick prediction for that. I got Lemieux winning. If you don't want to watch the video, you don't have to. But I'll tell you now, I got Lemieux winning. But anyway, Golovkin Jacobs. Okay, got Gennady Golovkin. Now his age, I want to point something out real quick. His age, he's 34 years old. Okay, now I know a lot of people say, and look, I'm going to go over a lot of things in the video today, and I kind of want to, respond to a couple of things I heard out there. Okay, but his age, 34 years old, and then you have Daniel Jacobs at 30. Okay, now if you go back and you look at what the former middleweight champions in history did and how old they were when they did it, they were about his age and some of them even older. I mean, for example, look at Bernard Hopkins, okay, when he was unifying the division and doing all, I'm not going to go over it because I don't want to make the video too long, but just look into it. In fact, I might make a video about it. People talk about Gennady Golovkin, he's too old. Well, no, that's not true. Go back, look at Monzon, look at, like I said, look at Bernard Hopkins, look at all the middleweight champs before, and they were able to unify and hold two and three belts and even become the undisputed champion like Bernard Hopkins was. He was the last undisputed champion in the middleweight history, and look at his age. Now, he was right around the age of Gennady Golovkin, even older, okay? So that the age argument, you kind of have to throw that out the window because Gennady Golovkin, he might be 34 years old, but he's a young 34. He hasn't had a lot of battles in there. Now his amateur record over 343, I've heard 340, 380 fights. Maybe a lot of wear and tear in the amateurs, and throughout his amateur career. But besides that, really, he's never been hurt, never been dropped, never been stunned, never been buzzed, nothing. I mean, it's just a stellar record. So, he's a young 34. But okay, and sorry guys, I have a cold. I don't mean to make gross noises in the mic. Okay, the number one thing I want to get at really is I don't like I just don't like these other channels contradicting themselves out there. They say one thing one day and another thing another day. I just heard a channel and they said, this is the number one and the number two middleweight. The winner of this fight will determine who is number one and who is number two. Okay, but then you go back a week before that, and they talk about how Danny Jacobs is no one and he's nothing. Oh, he's fighting another bum, and this is another keep busy fight. Well, but why would they label it number one and number two? It seems like they're actually giving the fight a little bit of respect. Well, they're doing that. So if Gennady Golovkin loses, they can say, well, you see, you put him up against, a good opponent, a real opponent rather, not a bum, not a fraud, not a cab driver, and he loses. Okay, kind of like Danny Jacobs just lost against, or not Danny, but Danny Garcia just lost against Keith Thurman. So that they're trying to set Golovkin up, I believe. Okay, and and here's another thing, like. Exactly. I would love to ask these channels in person, these channels that just hate on Golovkin, exactly who does he need to beat in order to earn your nod of approval or to get your respect, right? Like you mean shit anyway, but what does he need to do? I mean, seriously, who does he need to beat? Okay, is it Danny Jacobs? Is it Saunders? Is it Canelo? Like, when is it going to end when they're finally going to say, oh, okay, you know what? Yeah, he's kind of, backed us in a corner here. We can't really talk any more shit. Well, I believe that point has already passed. And, like I said, it's just, it really pisses me off. It does. I mean, because look, these channels out here, they're big. Okay, they have a lot of views, a lot of subscribers, a lot of people. They have a big impact in boxing. They really do, and so to me, it's like fake news. Okay, I mean, it's just like they're just biased fake news is what it is because, like I said, they have a very large, vast reach. Okay, and channels like mine, which I'm new, but I really don't. And I'll tell you the truth. So I don't like that. I don't like it's no different than politics today and the fake ass news that we get on the media. Okay. like CNN or MSNBC. It's just these made up biased stories. They can spin anything into a negative light, and I don't like that. And that's what these other channels do. And really, you know what? Shame on them. Shame on them for doing that, because it's a very shameful thing to do. And any real boxer or boxing fan can see it and should walk away from it. I mean, you guys, if you are subscribed to their channels, I encourage you to unsubscribe. I'm not telling you to sub to my channel. I don't care if you do or you don't, but don't support that garbage. It is pure garbage. They play on your emotions, and like I said, they're hypocrites. They contradict themselves on a daily basis. Like I said, back 2, 3, well, no, about 3, 4 months ago, they were talking about how Daniel, Golovkin is ducking Danny Jacobs. Why don't he fight Jacobs? Jacobs will beat him, especially after like the Quillen knockout. Oh my God, after that Peter Quillen fight, you had all these people talking. Golovkin's ducking Jacobs, or yeah, Jacobs. Okay, so now they put the fight together, and oh, he picked a bum. He's fighting. You get all these memes, with a bum laying there, and Gennady Golovkin standing there, and the meme says, Golovkin's next opponent, right? He's fighting another bum. So, 3 or 4 months ago, Jacobs was the boogeyman that Golovkin was ducking, but now the fight is put together, and he's just another bum. Okay, but then, you have other channels saying this is the number one and the number two guys at middleweight. And like I said, I think they are saying that just in case he loses. If he loses, they can say, "Well, I told you right there," because there really isn't a number three in middleweight, because it's just so scattered. The talent is scattered. It's not like the welterweight, where you can argue who's number 3 and 4 and whatever. In the middleweight division, it really is a scattered division, and there's not, right now, Golovkin's beat anyone with a name, anyone with a reputation, anyone with the right numbers, the belt, you name it, mandatories. He's beat all of them. He's beat every top 10 out there. I mean, the only guys left that Golovkin needs to beat, which I don't even think he should fight Saunders, because it's a joke. We already know what's going to happen. Saunders is going to get knocked out, and then maybe Canelo. But it's like Canelo. I don't know. To me, Canelo is more of a like an act. Like he just travels the country. I mean, like it's almost like he's acting, because I mean these guys he's fighting, they're just all about money and putting on a good show, with a good knockout, that kind of. It's like an act. So I don't even. I mean, really, who does he need to beat? And like I said, in my mind, he's already proven how great he is. He's already done everything he needs to do. Okay, so moving on. So he now, like I mentioned, he does need the WBO from Saunders to be the undisputed champion. Now, remember, you have to remember there are two versions of the WBA. So on March 18th, the WBA, is at stake. Okay, Gennady Golovkin. He's the super WBA. Jacobs is the regular WBA, and basically this will determine who is the full champ. It's a consolidation fight. Whoever wins is consolidated to the full WBA champion, meaning he's got everything, the WBC, what is it, IBF, and then the WBA, and he only needs the WBO from Saunders, and he will get that belt. Eventually the WBO is going to strip him. They're going to do something. They're going to force that fight to happen, because I mean that would be huge for the WBO, and they're all about money. You have to remember the WBO. They're all about money. Okay, they're not going to allow Billy Joe Saunders, to just sit there and hold that belt hostage. I mean, he's got to, and they're not going to allow him to sit there and just take mandatories either. So they're going to want to put together a big fight that'll bring in a lot of money. I mean, sanctioning bodies are in business to make money. Okay, um, so it'll happen, and he will be the undisputed champion. So, but like I said, I mean, who does he need to beat? I would love to sit down and ask these guys, well, okay, you tell me, give me a timeline, give me a plan of action, like exactly what does Gennady Golovkin need to do, to get respect. I mean, these guys give Earl Spence more respect than they give Gennady Golovkin, a guy. I mean, they literally had him on their fucking pound for pound list. I mean, look, after he beat Chris Algieri, they had Earl Spence on their pound for pound list. I mean, in their top 10. Let me back up. On their top 10 pound for pound list. I'm like, and you got the Gennady Golovkin, nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. Okay? I mean, it's just ridiculous. So And when I say pound for pound, I'm not talking about by division. I'm talking about overall pound for pound. There's a difference. You can break it down by division or just simply overall. And like I said, these guys had Spence in their top 10 and Gennady Golovkin not even in the top 10. Ridiculous. I mean, now, and I'd hate to say it. Now that, and I don't, and here's the thing: anytime any channel talks about anything like I'm about to bring up, they're considered racist, right? But I guarantee you, if Gennady Golovkin was a black man, these guys would hold him on the highest of most high pedestals. Okay, if he was a black boxer, they would, and that's coming from a guy. If you know me, there's not a racist bone in my body. My brain just simply doesn't operate that way. Okay, I just think we're all people on this earth, and that's it. That's it. So I mean, think about it, and it's really true because you notice they hate on all these other non-black fighters, and I don't like that. I just simply, again, because these people are leading the way in independent boxing media, right? They have the biggest megaphone out there, and it's fake news. It's bullshit news. Okay, it's no different than politics today, and they reach out to collectively millions of people because if you look at their views, I mean, their videos are getting 80,000, 90,000, 100,000, and there's about maybe 4 or 5 channels out there. So collectively, they're reaching millions of people. They're just like brainwashing these people. You go ask any casual about Gennady Golovkin, and even the casuals will say, "Oh, well, yeah, but he hasn't really fought anyone, right? Or isn't that the guy that needs to fight somebody?" I mean, seriously, that's the shit you'll get from them. It's because of this fake news that is being projected out there, that's being put out and just fed to these people, and it's so that's why I just encourage people, please sub to this channel. You know what? I'll even take off the monetization to where this channel makes no money whatsoever. I don't care about that. I want to do what is right for boxing, right? Okay, I want to wrong the right that, or I want to right the wrongs. Sorry, right the wrongs that these people have done. I mean, they're causing a lot of damage. It really is. It's like this whole Mayweather Al Heyman era. Okay, and then you have all these independent boxing media guys. I mean, they are contaminating boxing. They are literally toxic for the sport of boxing. I mean, if you can't report in a fair, unbiased way, you need to unplug your mic because you don't deserve to report on boxing. And that's how I look at it. Okay, and that's coming from a guy that is a boxer that grew up around boxing. I mean, boxing is my whole life. I mean, to me, it is just like you're spitting in the face of real boxing people. So that's why I'm very passionate about that. So I don't like these other channels, that just constantly just dog on Gennady Golovkin and like to say Manny Pacquiao, okay, another example, okay, or Lomachenko, another example. Like I said, if they were black boxers, I mean, they hold them up on this pedestal, and it's wrong. And you can call me a racist. I don't really give a shit. Call me whatever you want. It means nothing to me because I'm telling you the truth. And if you can't handle the truth, that's your problem. Go watch another channel, okay? You don't belong here. Okay, now, another thing I want to point out is, all these channels talking about how they say the video that I just watched. They said Gennady Golovkin, told the boxing media whenever he faced Kell Brook, that was the biggest challenge of his career. Okay, and they're like, well, wait a minute. If you're this beast in the middleweight division, right? If you're this middleweight killer, then how is like some welterweight the biggest challenge of your career? Your career? Okay, well, again, this is fake ass news. Okay, this is bullshit reporting because number one, Kell Brook is not a middleweight. He admitted himself he has to drain down and nearly kill himself to make welterweight. He's more comfortable at a light middleweight and can easily and comfortably make middleweight. Now, I know look at his record, right? He's fighting at welterweight, but he's not a natural welterweight. Hang on, let me dismiss that. He's not a natural welterweight. So and not only that, Gennady Golovkin, he didn't say that. Uh, Kell Brook was his, biggest challenge of his boxing career. He said he's the best boxer. That's what I believe Gennady Golovkin meant. He meant like this is the best boxer I have faced in my career. So hang on, let me put my phone on block so these people don't keep calling me. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I don't even know where it is. Anyway, so yeah, I don't think that he was saying that Kell Brook is like his biggest challenge. I really don't. And, even if he did, so what? They're reading way too much into it, and that's another thing. These guys just read way too much into it. So just stop with the bullshit reporting, right? I mean, like I said, the Brook fight. I mean, they say, oh, well, Gennady, he was exposed. It's like, he nearly killed the guy in there. He broke his damn eye socket, his orbital bone, nearly stopped him in round one. Nearly stopped him. And I think if Gennady Golovkin would have, just been a little bit more disciplined, he probably could have stopped him in round one, round two. Okay, now looking at the actual fight, the Gennady Golovkin Daniel Jacobs fight. Okay, you got a guy stopped by Pirog, and remember, or Pirog, and the opposition from that point on was just weak and light. I mean, he was like literally fighting, guys that did boxing as a hobby. I mean, seriously, like just go look at the record and break it down for yourself, okay? Uh, and then the old the Latin snake Mora, had the dude hurt his ankle, right? And then said he wouldn't give him a rematch, but then gave him a rematch in order to do more ducking. So then the Quillen fight, he catches Quillen cold, and here we are with Gennady Golovkin, Daniel Jacobs. Now I believe that Golovkin is going to absolutely destroy Daniel Jacobs. So that is my prediction. I don't think, and even Gennady Golovkin said he's not playing around in this fight. And you can talk about the height. You got Daniel Jacobs, 6 foot, Gennady Golovkin, 5'10" and a half, right? 70-inch reach for Golovkin and 73-inch reach for Jacobs. Jacobs got the height advantage, the reach advantage. He's the younger man, but like I said, I don't think that matters. He has one loss, 32-1, lost to Pirog, right? But I don't think any of that matters. Now, Jacobs, he has a great amateur background. Okay, so look, he has a good amateur background. So he's an intelligent boxer with power. Okay, he's a power puncher boxer. He's a complete fighter. I'll give him that. And in my mind, this is a really good challenge for Gennady Golovkin, and I would say probably one of the best. But I've always said that. Now I'll follow that up with, but I think Golovkin's going to completely annihilate him. But it's a good challenge because we know Gennady Golovkin. Look, he likes to impose his will, cut the ring off, and just chop these guys down, and that's what he does. So, but with Jacobs, I think he's going to be, intelligent enough, not to get his back on the ropes, to use that good lateral movement when he's trying to cut the ring off, sidestep, spin out of it, go the other way, hold, whatever, do whatever he's got to do to get out of that danger zone. So he does have that ring intelligence. He's got pretty good speed, good pop on his punches, power. He's got it all. So, yeah, you have two complete fighters going at it. It's a beautiful thing. And these, like I said, these other fake news, media boxing channels out there are just ruining it. They really are. And as I mentioned, Gennady Golovkin never been hurt, never been stopped, never been buzzed, never anything, right? Um, and look, and I don't like looking past anyone, but I'm going to look past Jacobs. Okay, after he beats Jacobs, I mean, like, what does he have? Like I said, only thing remaining to do is to go after that WBO, and you are not only are you the undisputed champion in middleweight, but I believe the youngest undisputed middleweight champion. He's done it quicker than anyone. So I need to look that up, but I'd like to know compared to like the Monzones and the Bernard Hopkins, where does Gennady Golovkin stand? Meaning he just simply might be the best middleweight in all of boxing history, is what I'm trying to say. When at the end of it, when you look at his career and compare it to others, he might be not only the undisputed but the best undisputed champion. So we'll see. And I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but and look, another thing about Jacobs, I believe he's great at infighting, mid range, long range, on the outside. He's going to fight tall, and Gennady Golovkin. Now here's the thing. Now if Jacobs, if he uses like that great footwork, and it's got to be great, not good, but great, because Gennady Golovkin's going to cut that ring off. He might do okay for a couple of rounds. Fight tall, use that footwork, but I think Golovkin will adjust because both guys, they're great at any range. I think anyway. I think Golovkin prefers to hunt you down and chase you down and cut the ring off and just catch you. He loves that. And another thing Gennady Golovkin doesn't get a lot of respect for or a lot of acknowledgement for is he kind of has a little bit of that Pacquiao punching ability, meaning his punches, they have power on them from any angle. A little jab, he might be off to the left or off to the right, and he can throw a quick hook, a check hook, whatever, a right cross, maybe a little quick uppercut or a body shot, whatever it is, but he can do it from these like awkward angles. So he's just such an underrated fighter, and it really does. It's like I said, it's a shame, and what these other channels are doing is shameful. And I will tell you, it's unpopular and unprofitable to support Gennady Golovkin like I do. If I was all about money and making a big channel, man, it's very simple. It's not a difficult formula. You just simply hype up these other guys, and just it's profitable to rag on Gennady Golovkin. It brings a lot of views because there's a lot of hate for him. Well, why is there a lot of hate for him? I just explained it to you because these other channels with these big ass megaphones, these big channels out there have created this hate. Okay, now think about it. Why do these boxing fans, why do they not like Golovkin? It's not because they're using common sense and he hasn't beat anyone. No, it's because they're brainwashed by these fake ass boxing channels out there. I mean, that's it. I mean, we come from a generation, especially the newer, younger generation of boxers that were brought in by Mayweather, that are almost like they have like this built-in biased, way of thinking. It's just built in. They came into the sport of boxing through Floyd Mayweather and getting hooked on these big boxing channels out there. So it's like they have this pre mindset of how they look at these guys. I mean, do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? It's just like it's like social engineering. Okay, it's like they've been socially engineered not to like guys like Gennady Golovkin. And if you support them, you're a racist. And if you don't support Jacobs, you're also a racist. If you tell the truth, you're a racist. I mean, anything and everything is racist, and it's all bullshit, and it needs to stop. And we really need to get back to boxing.